Alright, today is Sunday, July 5th, 2026. This is a weekly trading update video. So the first thing I want to do is explain my chart view. I've made some changes recently. So first, here I've got the chart for QQQ. This is a daily chart. And I have some moving averages on here. So this yellow line is the 8 EMA. That's my short-term moving average. The aqua line is the 21 EMA, sort of a short to intermediate term. And then instead of using the 55 EMA, I've decided to do like everyone else does and use the 50 SMA. So this dark blue line is the 50 SMA, and this magenta line is the 200 SMA, so simple moving average. So the 50 and the 200 are simple moving averages, and the 8 and the 21 are exponential moving averages. And the two things that I like to track are the trend and the momentum. Just looking at the price chart with the moving averages, you can get some idea of the trend. But to further measure the trend as I need it for my trading style, I've created this indicator that I'm calling FFTS. This is the Fast Fib Trend Stack. And here's what it's a histogram value from 0 to 10, and so 10 meaning that you're in a strong uptrend, and so here's what it does. It uses the 1 EMA, that's the price, the 3 EMA, the 8 EMA, the 21 EMA, and the 55 EMA, and it asks the following questions. Is the 1 above the 3? Is the 1 above the 8? Is the 1 above the 21? Is the 1 above the 55? You get 1 point for each yes answer. Then is the 3 above the 8? Is the 3 above the 21? Is the 3 above the 55? And then is the 8 above the 21? Is the 8 above the 55? And finally, is the 21 above the 55? So if all of these answers are yes, that's a perfect uptrend, and you get a score out of 10 out of 10. Notice if the price falls below the 8, then you're automatically down to 8 out of 10, and if it falls below the 21, then you're down to 7 out of 10. And so that's how this fast fib trend stack works. That's what this indicator is. So if we look at QQQ, we can see if we go back to April, on April 8th we had a jump from a score of 4 to 6, and then on April 9th it turned green, which is 8 or higher. So that could have served, this area right here could have served as a good entry signal. Notice the uptrend continued, it stayed green. The lowest you got was here, that's 8, stayed green. Then on June 5th, it did drop down to a 6, which I've colored yellow. So that was sort of a change in what's going on. So that's how the fast fib trend stack indicator works. Then the next indicator that I have is called the RSFFTS, and I'll go ahead and display that. And it looks very similar or almost identical. But let me explain what it's doing. Let me go over to a different view here. Let's go to the QQQ. So here's the this is the RS line. So RS stands for relative strength. Relative to what? Relative to our benchmark ETF, which is SPY, the S&P 500. This white line is the relative strength line, and what it does is it compares your price with the price of SPY. So it gives you a graph of how your chart is doing relative to SPY. So it's relative strength. Then you can put moving averages on here. Like here I've got the 8, the 21, and the 50. But you can put any moving averages on your RS line. And that's what I've done with this indicator, is again using the same 1, 3, 8, 21, and 55. But now it's the moving average of the RS line. Most of the time, you're going to see agreement between the fast fib trend stack and the RS fast fib trend stack. But when there is a noticeable difference, that could be meaningful. So this is how I track the trend of the relative strength line. And we'll look at some examples with different charts where we can see where there are some notable differences between the price trend and the relative strength trend. The next indicator that I use is this BX indicator. It's a momentum indicator, and what it does is it calculates the RSI of the 13 EMA minus the 55 EMA. So this quantity, the 13 minus the 55, it tracks up and down moves of that quantity over the last 13 days. And RSI outputs a number between 0 and 100. Then at the end I subtract 50 so that the value it oscillates between negative 50 and positive 50. And so looking at QQQ, we can see back on April 9th, the momentum turned positive, green, and then on June 9th, the momentum turned negative and has stayed negative until our last close on Thursday, July 2nd. Is still the momentum is still negative. So looking at the state of the Qs, we're not quite in a strong uptrend yet. We've got yellow scores on the fast fib trend and the RS fib trend, and we've got a negative score on the momentum. And then the final indicator that I have down here, and I keep it minimized. This is the ATR, the average true range. This tells me something about the volatility of the chart, and it outputs 3 numbers. This first number is the 21-day average true range in points. So it tells you how many points you move on average per day. And the second number is the average true range percent of price. So QQQ over the last 21 days moves an average of 2.18%. And then this third number tells me the extension. It tells me how many ATRs above or below the 21 EMA. So currently we are below the 21 EMA by about half an ATR. And so those are all of the indicators that I have on my chart. And now what I would like to do is go through several tickers and look at and see how these indicators light up. And let's start with this watch list I have called Market Indices. So these are the major market level index ETFs. And we'll start with SPY. This is our benchmark. This is what we measure everything against. When we're trading, we want to outperform SPY. That's the goal. It's very difficult to do. So here's the chart for SPY. Notice we do have a 10 out of 10 on the trend stack. It's just started to try to get into an uptrend. It's been green for the last 3 days. Momentum, however, is still red. And notice here the relative strength trend stack is flat, and that's the way it's supposed to be, because SPY is the benchmark. So the relative strength line for SPY should always be perfectly flat. So let me show you that. This is the relative strength line for SPY. It's flat because you take the price and divide by SPY. So you end up with a value of 1 when you divide SPY divided by SPY. Okay. So overall SPY is looking good, like it's trying to start into a new uptrend. We're above the 50-day, we're above the 21-day, but momentum is still red. The equal weighted S&P 500 RSP. This is looking perfect. We've got a 10 out of 10 on the trend stack, and it's showing good relative strength against SPY, 10 out of 10, and momentum is positive. So that tells us that the breadth in the market is good, that the equal weight is outperforming the market cap weight S&P 500. Next, we have the NASDAQ Composite Index. Trend is 5 out of 10. Relative strength trend is 1 out of 10. So compared to SPY, the trend is really not good, and momentum is negative. So I've color coded this red as being something I would not be interested in trading, and green if it is something that I would be interested in, yellow if I need to show some caution, so not all the signals are lined up if it's yellow. Next is the NASDAQ 100 QQQ. That's what we started with. Let's just take another look back at that. Trend stack is 5 out of 10. Relative strength trend stack is 5 out of 10, and momentum is negative. The NASDAQ 100 equal weight QQQE. Similar story. The trend stack is 8 out of 10, so it's not quite. So that's better. Relative strength just a little bit worse at a 7 out of 10. Momentum is still negative, though. The Magnificent Seven. Not looking good. Trend stack 4 out of 10. Relative strength trend stack 3 out of 10. Momentum is negative, but it is increasing. That's why it's colored light red instead of dark red. So at least momentum is increasing there. The Dow Jones Industrial Average. Looking perfect, 10 out of 10 on trend stack and relative strength, and momentum is positive. The mid caps, MDY. Trend is okay, it hasn't broken down, it's 8 out of 10. Relative strength trend is a little weaker at 7 out of 10. Momentum is still green, but it's starting to fade. That's why it's colored dark green. The Russell 2000 IWM small caps. Trend stack 8 out of 10. Relative strength, trend stack just a little weaker at 7 out of 10. And momentum is positive but fading. These lines that I have drawn on here, I have been actually trading the triple leverage version of this TNA. This green line shows where I entered, and then we have 1 ATR below entry, 1 ATR above entry, 2 ATR above entry. That's how I track my trades. The growth stocks, the IBD 50 ETF. Trend stack breaking down 5 out of 10. Relative strength trend stack broken down worse at 4 out of 10. Momentum just turned negative. So that's a look at some of the index ETFs. Next, let's look at the 11 spider sector ETFs. We'll start with XLU, the utilities. Trend stack just fired green 10 out of 10, but relative strength only 5 out of 10. Momentum is positive, bright green. One of the reasons why the relative strength is not as good on this one, if we look at the ATR, it's a 1.5% ATR ETF. So I think that low ATR makes it more difficult for the relative strength to look good. So it's hard to beat SPY with such a low ATR. Next is the healthcare sector, XLV, breaking out, looking perfect, 10 out of 10, and green momentum. One of the strong sectors currently. Next is the industrial sector, XLI, looking perfect. Not breaking out as obviously as XLV, but perfect alignment for trend and momentum. Also XLF appears to be breaking out. We've got, notice here the difference between the trend stack was solid green for several days back, but the relative strength is just now starting to kick into 10 out of 10. So financial sector looking really good. So those are the three leading sectors right now, are XLV, XLI, and XLF. Now let's take a look at the other sectors. The discretionary, XLY, not so good. Real estate, the trend is good. The relative strength trend is not. Again, this is a low ATR, 1.45%. Makes it difficult for the relative strength to trend on this one. Communications, XLC, looking pretty terrible. Consumer staples, XLP. Trend stack 10 out of 10. Relative strength is not there yet though. Material sector, XLB. Trend stack score is 10 out of 10. but relative strength and momentum are not quite there. Technology, this was our former leader. This was the leader in April and May. And it's showing some weakness. 5 out of 10 on the trend, 5 out of 10 on the relative strength trend, and red momentum. And finally, the energy sector, XLE, not looking so good. So those are the 11 spider sector ETFs. And so we have healthcare, industrials, and financials sort of leading the way. I picked out some other more, so going sort of below the sector level, getting more specific into some sort of group ETFs. I've picked out 12 that I think look good for this week. So these are some ETFs to watch for this week. And let's just start with ARKG. This is genomics. Perfect 10 out of 10. Green momentum. It is a bit extended. Like I don't know if I would want to like buy right now or not. But it's one to watch. If it can kind of pull back to this 8 EMA, it could give a good entry. Or if you like this kind of breakout above this 3-day base, I could see entering it here. It is a little bit extended. We haven't used that indicator down here, but it is currently 3.3 ATRs above the 21. So most people would consider that to be kind of extended. Next is HACK, H-A-C-K. This is cybersecurity. So this is one of the areas within technology that is acting well, is the cybersecurity stocks. So we have a perfect 10 out of 10 and green momentum here. Within the financial sector, KBE, this is banking. Spider S&P Bank ETF. Looking good. It has kind of pulled back a little bit here towards the 8 EMA, so this could be good to enter. XBI, this is within the healthcare theme. This is the biotech ETF. It has been breaking out. The question is, will this breakout continue? We've got this little 3 to 4 day base here. Is this a continuation point, or are we too late on this? This could possibly be something to enter. Aerospace and defense, this is considered within the industrial sector. ITA, looking good. Notice how all of our signals are good here. Everything is green. Home builders, ITB, looking good. It just pulled back and held the undercut and reclaimed the 8 EMA. It's just broken out above the 200 SMA. Something to watch for this week also. IYH, this is just a general healthcare ETF, breaking out on Thursday even further. IYK, this is consumer staples. When we looked at XLP, we didn't have the relative strength there, but this ETF, IYK, we do have good relative strength, and we have this breakout day on Thursday, so this is one to watch. IYT, this is the transportation sector, looking good. KIE, this is within the financial sector. This is insurance ETF, breaking out. And XRT. This is a consumer. This is a retail ETF. So this is interesting. Kind of flat here over the last 5 or 6 days, but our trend stack is good, and our relative strength trend stack just popped up on Thursday, even though price is holding within this space. So this could be a good signal here for XRT. Kind of like that as an entry. And another area within the technology sector that is showing some strength is the cloud computing ETF, CLOU. So we have relative strength trend firing on Wednesday and Thursday. Momentum isn't quite there. It's still red, but it is increasing. Maybe watch this for if momentum turns green. Looks like it could be good to go. So those are some sort of group ETFs to keep an eye on. And last, I'll show the things that I have a position in currently. So I have the chart for IWM there. I'm trading TNA, triple leveraged Russell 2000. I entered back here on June 11th and have been holding it, so I'm watching as the trend stack and relative strength trend stack dropped to 8, so I'll be keeping a close watch on this. Momentum still green, but possibly starting to fade. Also in UPRO, which is 3 times leverage SPY. So we do get a relative strength reading for UPRO since it's not identical to SPY. And so it's looking good, except momentum isn't quite there yet. In the healthcare sector, I have a position in Guardant Health GH. I entered back here on May 27th. I've been holding it. It's recently started to break out. I have trimmed into strength sort of in this area right here, and I'm still holding a portion of it. See what it's going to do. This orange line here is where I'm considering that I might trim more if it gives back those gains. Sort of a trailing stop. Also in the healthcare sector, I have Eli Lilly. This is 2 times leverage. Lilly, LLYX. Entered back here on June 4th, and still holding that. FTNT. This is within the cybersecurity area. I didn't show an ETF for that, but that cybersecurity ETF is also looking good. Sort of one of the pockets of strength within technology. Twilio, TWLO. This is in the cloud computing sector. We showed the ETF for CLOU. So we can get this chart to pull up. There's TWLO. So we've got our trend stack and relative strength looking good. Momentum isn't quite there. I've gone ahead and entered. I will add to this if momentum turns green. In the financial sector, I have Robinhood, HOOD. Couldn't get the chart to load. Let me see if it'll load the next one. Reddit RDDT. Looks like I'm having some trouble getting my charts to load right now, so I'm going to go ahead and call that the end of the video, and I'll try to do another weekly update next week.